The Breakfast Club open letter. Greetings, Breakfast Club. I want to start out by saying, yes, I want all the smoke. To put it lightly, this brother isn't playing. Our country, our nation, and our world is in trouble. But let's just deal with our country that has been wrecked by an incompetent and senile Biden administration. I'm done playing the political games by playing the side of a Democrat or Republican. You still think the Democrats are for the black people and the Republicans is for the white supremacists, not understanding it's a uniparty with both playing a role. Democrats playing the aggressor, while Republicans play controlled opposition. Democrats wreak havoc on the very foundation of Christian values by destroying God, traditional family values, and love of country, while Republicans sit in the grandstands cheering the Democrats on as they watch the atrocities unfold right before their eyes in real time. In other words, they're on the same team, ladies and gentlemen. Democrat, Republican, independent, and libertarian citizens were chained together thinking we were free. And the whole time, the wolf in sheep's clothing was pushing the same agenda. What agenda is that, you might ask? A new world order backed by the World Economic Forum that says you will own nothing and be happy. The globalists are so far ahead as they divide through identity politics. The citizens fight one another as they conquer. Hearing some of the Breakfast Club's topics over the years, you still think the fight is white versus black, Democrat versus Republican, and right versus left, as they sift away more and more of our freedoms. No, this battle is good versus evil, period, and there is no in between. Here is the game changer. I was minding my own business, but the deep state started to fight by killing a thriving Trump economy with Fauci the fraud's gain of function. I believe President Trump was sincere in his endeavors to restore America after President Obama's failed policies and lack thereof to serve the black community as our first black president. Now let's pay attention to the grotesque injustice towards President Trump with indictment after indictment. We are witnessing a two-tier justice system where Lady Justice is no longer wearing a blindfold. There is a criminal syndicate running this country and everybody's a part of the crime family. I don't care how you feel about Trump, but if your disdain for this man causes an excitement to see such injustice, you just wait. Your time is coming, and my time is coming. I believe this saying depicts the prediction of our future if we continue on this path. There is no loyalty among thieves. In other words, as soon as you fight against the establishment, the cabal, get out of line and disagree with the powers that be, your indictment is next. Because history tells us dictators want total control, and they will get it by any means necessary. Knowing your history is exactly why I'm set against destroying monuments and statues, because they are tied to the Confederate. If we destroy the past, we are destined to repeat it. How awake am I? Not woke, but awake. I didn't tune into the dog and pony show. That would be the Republican debate. And it may as well have been the Democratic debate. Regardless, I wasn't tuning in. I spent my valuable time, like millions of others, tuning into Tucker Carlson interviewing President Trump. 2020 was a wake-up call. To see the way the virus was handled, a year of chaos and riots, my apologies, mostly peaceful protests, and as one mayor would put it, a summer of love. I continue. And a stolen election. Yes, stolen election. No one will ever make me believe that Biden, Sleepy Joe dead in the basement, along with cackling Harris, got more votes than President Obama and more votes than any other president in history. If you believe that, then I have some in-run stock to sell you. I digress. I was elated to see Larry Elder totally eviscerate Charlemagne by calling him out for allowing Biden to racially profile him and the entire black race by saying, and I quote, "If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black, end quote. These are the words from a true bigot, racist, misogynist, homophobe, Islamophobe, and xenophobe that the media continues to ignore and wants you to do the same. Don't take my word for it. Get off your butt and go do research for yourself. It's all over the internet. Everything Biden has said and done to hurt the black community. But I understand. The fake news media has to say it first for blacks to believe it. We call that mind controlled, brainwashed, swindled, hoodwinked, bamboozled. All the media has to do is sprinkle racism on anything they want the black race to focus on. Give it 24/7 coverage and the black folk would jump on it like a dog in heat, not realizing the media directed the racism in the direction they wanted you to focus on. But we haven't caught on yet. The media, the extension of the Democratic Party, has been playing out the same playbook since the KKK. They know that black folk are the most gullible. Therefore, they exploit the black race like a $10 hoe because they know they can. They demonize, vilify, demonetize, and try to annihilate every black that has left the modern-day plantation because they don't want you reaching people like the Breakfast Club and their audience. To prove my point, you had Vivek on your show as a guest. And because he is on the Republican ticket, it's an uphill battle right from the start. No matter how brilliant he is, no matter what he brings to the table to help the black community, because he's a Republican, the Breakfast Club built the Berlin Wall led by the very rude, obnoxious, nauseating, smart alecky, and condescending Teslin Figaro. Figaro is a prime example of why the black race never gets any better. This display of showmanship was an embarrassment to the black race. Unfortunately, Figaro took the lead and the entire Breakfast Club followed suit. No one had enough integrity, decency, or just common courtesy towards Vivek as your guest to at least treat him with the same respect he gave to the entire Breakfast Club the whole time, despite the continual cynical attacks thrown his way. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but the accusatory tone of Figaro, the antics she displayed, and the public spectacle she exhibited said to me there is no hope for this woman. What do I mean? When she asked Vivek, a well-accomplished billionaire, what accomplishments did he make in grade school? And did he ever take on a leadership role in high school, like becoming class president? What? This was laughable, except the ignorance was not funny. Not to mention, Figaro was looking for high regards and accolades for standing up to her teacher in 4th grade for snatching papers from students. This was one of her highlights of accomplishments, her claim to fame, comparing her 4th grade incident as noteworthy, but Vivek's multi-billion-dollar company making medication to help children was minuscule in comparison. I was dumbfounded because she really thought she had a legitimate point. No one tried to stop this foolery train from colliding with Duntsville. It was as if the blind was leading the blind. This is exactly why we need different perspectives. Because if everyone is thinking the same way, then who's going to bring logic to the conversation and say, I think we need to slow down because we all might drive off this cliff? Or a sensible thinking person saying, no, a biological male cannot become pregnant, breastfeed, or have a menstrual cycle. I'm about to sound like the 90s Chicago Bulls because I keep repeating myself. How about asking Vivek the question, if you become president, do you think you could help the fatherlessness in the black community? You know, the fatherlessness that has become the catalyst for all of the undoings in the black community, like teen pregnancy, abortion, Hillary Clinton's mentor Margaret Sanger's way of extinguishing the black race out of existence, now called Planned Parenthood, black-on-black homicides, domestic violence, child abuse, gang violence, crime, drug abuse, incarceration, illiteracy, and school dropout. Mr. Vivek, Did you know that all of these atrocities in the Black community is governed by mostly Black Democratic elected officials, but by all Democrats? So as a Republican, do you think you could help that situation, or will Blacks continue to vote for the Democrat because they have been told over and over again that the Democratic Party has their best interests at heart? Instead, there were only insults of sarcasm and loathing thrown his way, led by Figaro. Again, I digress. Y'all, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Hearing the Black folk whine, bicker, and complain, always looking for a handout, waiting for the white man to do it for you. I note, the white man is damned if they do and damned if they don't. Michael Oher is another prime example of why we can't help some Black people. Because we can be the most selfish, unappreciative, and ungrateful people on the planet. Under President Trump, unemployment for Blacks was at an all-time record low. He did prison reform, which positively affected over 90% of Blacks. He met with Black leaders, pastors, and entertainers to get their opinion to better help serve the Black community. He gave millions to marginalized communities to help build up the infrastructure in mainly Black communities. Trump brought back the HBCU funding that Obama took away, while increasing the funding by 17% and made it so that they wouldn't have to reapply every single year. With that being said, I haven't heard one simple thank you from any of the HBCUs that benefited from Trump's policies. Not a thank you from anyone that was told to hate Trump by the lying media, and not a thank you from the Breakfast Club. Don't believe me? Check the article out that was published by New York Post, titled, "Why Trump, Not Biden, is Better for the Black Community." This once again proves my point of how Blacks can be so unthankful, ungrateful, unappreciative, and willfully ignorant because we don't read. Former NBA star J.R. Smith said this on an I Am Athlete episode I believe was profound. So profound, I wrote about the entire conversation in my book titled 1776 Rewind, The Great Awakening is Revolutionary. Smith said this while sitting and discussing in the midst of other Black NBA multimillionaires. He asked the question, why we gotta wait for the owners to do for our people? We have money and lots of it, so why don't we do for ourselves? God knows this is true. We live in a time in America where we have more Black multimillionaires and billionaires, so why can't we come together and build an empire? I'll tell you why. We allow the media that is incapable of telling the truth to dictate how we feel and think. For example, I believe the media was on ready to play up the Tuskegee massacre we call the Black Wall Street, waiting in great anticipation for the 100-year-old anniversary of the tragedy, to stoke a hostile racial climate and create rage and uncontrollable anger in the Black communities. What do? We fall for it every time. We call that the modern-day plantation slavery mindset. This is why you can have a Black race of people living in the freest country in the world but claim they're not free. Why? Because they have been told they are not free. By whom? The white liberal. Malcolm X warned us about the white liberal. He said they are the most dangerous to the Black race because they patronize you and pose as being your friend by condoning and being sympathetic towards the very things that are killing us, like abortion. They'll march in the street with you to fulfill Margaret Sanger's legacy to extinguish the Black race out of existence. And somehow we think that's a noble cause because they are side by side with locked arms. As a result, it blinds us from seeing the poison being interjected in the Black culture. In addition, pandering from the white liberal only perpetuates the problems. Why hasn't there been a rebuilding of Black Wall Street? I'll answer it for you. If you live in bondage, there will be no expectations from the black race to do better for themselves. Just cry victimhood and the white liberal will come to your rescue. Republicans have their faults, but who's the real enemy? That's right, the Democratic Trojan horse that the Republicans push in. This is a great segue into the ending of this letter. In conclusion, fatherlessness, coupled with the race baiters, you get a runaway locomotive heading to a disastrous end with no hope in sight. Who are those race baiters? I'm glad you asked. We're going to start out with the original gangsters, Al and Jesse. Then we move on to Oprah Winfrey, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, Whoopi Goldberg, LeBron James, Jamil Hill, Stephen A. Smith, and rounding off my top 10 with the new arrival, Benjamin Crump. Mind you, they're all black and all millionaires and billionaires. What have they done to make the black race better? All they do is spew hate towards the white race and blame the white man for systematic racism, oppression, white privilege, while selling the black race victimhood as they laugh all the way to the bank. Mission accomplished, noted by all of their white liberal handlers. While the media keep the focus on the past and stir up racial tensions of current events with 24/7 publicity of issues like police brutality. Highlight a white man killing black people as a hate crime, but ignore the thousands of black-on-black murders that happen across the nation every single year. The white liberals in blackface are pleased with this because it keeps all the Negroes in check, angry and disenfranchised with no light at the end of the tunnel. So you Uncle Toms that made it off the modern-day plantation, don't come trying to change the minds of my Negroes, to put it lightly. White liberals say, that's right where we want them, with a slave mentality. Never seeing any hope or opportunity this nation affords us all under the Constitution of the United States of America. Which is why white liberals love it when you have blacks like Elie Mystal calling the Constitution trash. It's a vicious cycle, a paradigm that went from chains of slavery to slavery of the mind. What's worse? I choose the latter, because you can enslave a man with chains, but if he's free in the mind, then he is free. And can't no chains, no white oppression, no white privilege, no systematic racism stop a man from being free, as long as he is free in the mind. This is my open letter to the Breakfast Club. I look forward to your response. May God bless America. My name is Hassan, aka Sonny B. I write to fight. 1776. Rewind. You can find us on most social media sites at 1776 Rewind. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell to receive future content. Video pop-ups of my past videos are there for your viewing. Also, the link for my book titled 1776 Rewind, The Great Awakening is Revolutionary, is down below in the description box. Thank you for your support.